Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Chevy Tahoe. And yes, I know that the 2021s are going to be a new body style. However, I wanted to take a look at the 2020 before it obviously is no longer being produced to see if it's worth it to wait for the 2021. So as always, we are going to do a quick walk around on the Tahoe. Then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to Larry Miller Chevy here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Tahoe. Check out the inventory in the link below. Let's get into the video. Under the hood here of the Tahoe, we have a naturally aspirated 5.3 liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around town and then 21 on the highway, with power outputs being 355 horsepower and then 383 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over things on the front end of the 2020 Tahoe. Starting at the hood, a lot of this is all the same for a long time. I've always liked this kind of like line there in the middle, kind of like leads to almost like a beak type shape essentially. Now if we come down below, we've got projector bulbs up front with the turn signals all integrated into that area. Fog lights are down below. Chevy bow tie with the chrome grill, and then you can see there's parking sensors there that dot the front of the Tahoe. They really haven't changed things stylistically in the Tahoe for quite some time, so I mean it all looks the same. Around the side here, we've got a pretty standard setup for a larger size SUV like this. 275mm on the tires, 20-inch rims, and you can see that they're just pretty much chrome clad, and I mean that definitely goes with the Tahoe and Suburban theme, having a ton of chrome on them. You can see there's side steps that go all along the side of it. You've got a little Tahoe badge there, and this is the reason why you're going to buy the Tahoe, and that is going to be proportions. Yes, it does not have as much storage space as a Suburban, but you know, proportion wise, just front to back, it looks a whole lot better than a Suburban. Here's our key fob for the Tahoe. It's got the Chevy logo on the back. You have a couple functions on the front. You've got your unlock, your lock, remote start, and you can see there's a couple releases. We'll go over those in a minute. But if we lock it and then hold down the remote start function, the 5.3 V8 will start up. You can see the little exhaust gases popping out the back here. And then obviously if you press that button again on the key fob, it'll shut it all off. Now let's play with the other two functions. So first, if you press that twice, that's for the whole tailgate to open that. And we will get into the back of the tailgate, but I want to show the other functions. So press it again, that'll shut the tailgate. And then if you press this little button twice, that'll open up the window. So if you just want to throw things in the back window quickly, you can. So you just open that up, and then obviously when you're done, just shut it. So it isn't automatic though, sadly. So when you do that, if you press it again, it doesn't shut the window. You have to shut it manually. Well, now that's all taken care of. Let's actually go over things in the rear here of the Tahoe. You have the cargo net back here. Those are actually the floor mats that they've decided to put back here. There is a little bit of extra storage under this little area. Sorry, the cargo net's kind of getting in the way. But again, this is why the Tahoe is not going to be as good as the Suburban is in terms of interior space. You get nicer looks, but I mean, if you don't have the third row folded down, you can see that the space here, I mean, it's basically less than 2 hand lengths in terms of space, so it's not a whole lot of space to store things. And then there is a button up here that you can shut the tailgate, so press that and then it'll slow lower back down. Now to finish things in the rear, the taillights, again, they haven't updated that forever. It's still kind of like that old design. Always reminds me of a, I think it's the Chevy Cobalt maybe, but the lights are vertical instead of horizontal. I think that's the right car, might be thinking the wrong car. But anyways, you got the Tahoe badge, Premier badge, and then the tow package, and then there's parking sensors in the rear. And then if we look up under the SUV, there is the spare tire just underneath. So I was about to go over things in the front, but the seats were all folded down, so now I gotta fix these and that. And now I can pop back here, and now I can pop in the second row and fix these seats. And oh wait, I gotta pick that up in a second. But now we can pretend like that never happened, and we can go over the keyless entry here. So that locks it, and then press it again, and that'll unlock it. Now we've got the door panel back here. There is leather with some stitching here, more leather, more stitching. We've got wood trim that kind of goes along, and then one of the speakers for the sound system. And now I have to use 2 hands, but I've got to get the seat back up. Well, now that I've got this seat up, the seats, again, full leather here. The third row is going to be the same, and now I've got to throw the seat down again. There we go. Now that the seat's thrown down again, the third row in terms of legroom feel like it's a decent amount of legroom, and that's where you're winning. So you have less trunk space, but you have more legroom. And now I've got to pull this strap to get the seat up, back up. Now we're good to go there. And then there is a cup holder back here. You got a couple climate controls for the rear passengers. They do get heated seats, and then you can see more of that rubber floor mat that kind of continues all throughout the SUV, so it's going to be easier to clean up. Now coming up to the front, you've got that same keyless entry, so that locks it, and then press it again, and that will unlock it. Here is the door panel at the front of the Tahoe, and again, all of this leather and stitching is going to be the same as in the back. You get the cool wood trim. Window controls are in this area, mirror controls. The memory seats are actually down there on the armrest. You got the speaker for the Bose sound system. The seats in the front, they're actually really comfortable. So again, a ton of leather here, but the bolsters are actually pretty soft, so they're nice and comfy to sit in. The adjustments for the seats are right there on the side. Pedal layout down below. I think it's cool they did the Chevy bow tie, but it's fun that that's black, but then all the other bow ties are the regular color, so it's kind of interesting choice. Traditional foot brake. You've got the light controls right here, the four-wheel drive system, trailer brakes, and then this is for some of the safety tech and also some other stuff. So those are the pedal adjustments, stability control, lane departure assistance, and then the parking sensors. And then the steering wheel is actually automatically adjustable just with that little control right there. But here's one more look before we step inside. Start it up, we just put our foot on the brake, push the push start, and everything will come to life. The gauges do a really long sweep though. It's like, whoop. Wait for it. Now it's on. Here's the steering wheel in the Tahoe. If we zoom in, again, Chevy bow tie that I actually showed earlier. Here's the controls all for the center stack, voice command, phone control. You've got the heated steering wheel, which I like that it's actually on the steering wheel, just makes it really easy and it makes sense. That's for the collision assistance, and then the cruise control here. And then this is the stock for obviously the turn signals, but then also the windshield wipers. And then it is a column shifter for the 6-speed automatic. If you want to shift the gears yourself, there's little plus and minus buttons to do that. And then this is for your tow haul mode. So the trailer brakes are over here, but the tow haul mode is just that little button right there when you are towing a trailer with this. RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then you've got a bunch of gauges up there, like fuel, for example, and temperature. And then we've got these little touchscreen, or not touchscreen, I should say center stack. It's not a touchscreen, but you can see there's info, audio, phone, navigation, and then options. You can go through those. Info will give you different information on the vehicle. So right now it's showing fuel range, pretty standard setup on most modern cars. We've got the infotainment system. The first thing I want to go over is the backup camera. It's a pretty normal backup camera. It's got trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. There's nothing crazy or special about it. Now the infotainment system itself, touchscreen response time on it, I mean, it seems pretty much on par with most modern vehicles. I wouldn't call it like crazy good, but I wouldn't say that it's laggy or anything like that. I mean, pressing all these functions, I feel like everything happens relatively quickly. That being said, the buttons for it are just down below, so analog buttons for all of the stuff on the touchscreen. So if I want to go back to the home screen, I can just press those. It does have the climate controls up here, and it is a tri-zone climate, so it's got 3 different climate zones. So you have dual zones, so you've got the driver, passenger, and then you have a climate for the rear passengers. You can control that all with this little climate system, and you can see it says rear climate right there. Up front, we get the heated and ventilated seats in this area, and then Chevys all give you kind of like a choice. So they say if you want it on the whole seat, or if you want just on like the back of the seat, if you don't want it on your butt, which it's cool that they give you that little choice. This little area, we actually have some charging stations that come as that thing kind of like slowly opens up. Cup holders right next to it, some more of that stitching with the wood trim. Here's kind of like a whole look at the area so you can see kind of what this whole system looks like. Coming over to the center console, there's wireless charging on the top of it, and then opening it up, you got the glove box. If you're wondering what that box is for, it's for the DVD player that I forgot to mention in the back, so sorry about that, but there's a DVD player in this Tahoe. Anyways, coming over to the glove box, more of the stitching, and then if we open up the glove box, here's a look at it so you can see the storage space. And then before we head at the top of it, I just kind of want to give you guys like a shot of the front interior so you guys can kind of see what it all looks like again. Up top, I haven't pressed any of these, so we're just going to play with them. Oh, that's kind of cool. Like, look how this pops down. Bam! Bam! Okay, anyways, aside from me being a child, you got the sunglass holder. This does have a sunroof up front. It's just a regular small size sunroof. The headliner is light in coloration, so you got like a dark bottom with the lighter headliner. It looks like there's just the light controls up here. That is for the tailgate if you want it to like stop at a certain point. Other than that, just one more time. Bam! That's kind of funny. If you like just want to see what your kids are doing, you're like, hello kiddos. Okay, I'm done. Now that we have gone over everything on the interior, let's quickly go over pricing. So this particular Tahoe, with all the equipment that it has in the Premier package, stickers for about $70,000 before any type of market adjustment. So let's take this Tahoe out and see if it drives like $70,000. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Visibility over the hood's actually pretty good for being such a large SUV. Visibility throughout the mirrors is decent. I wish I had like bigger mirrors, but I know that these are the same mirrors that can come on some of the trucks. See visibility throughout the other side. And then all throughout the rear, big square windows all around, so it's actually pretty easy to see out of the Tahoe. And yeah, the column shifter is actually really easy to get into gear, but let's set off. Now, initially setting off here in the Tahoe, I want to talk about the road noise and the ride quality. In terms of the ride quality, it's actually really, really smooth. Like, this is a very comfortable vehicle to drive, so I can understand why a lot of families will pick this vehicle just because of the space, but then also it's a comfortable vehicle to drive, so you could take it on long road trips and just be really comfortable in it. In terms of the road noise, cabin's actually really well insulated. You don't hear a whole lot that comes to the cabin, just a little bit, but not a whole lot. It's actually pretty well insulated. And now I actually want to talk about the steering too while we're at it. So the steering is relatively direct. There's a little bit of on-center vagueness. I probably look like I'm drunk because I keep moving the steering wheel back and forth. But yeah, there's a little bit of on-center vagueness, but I would say kind of as like a general, it's relatively direct for the type of SUV it is. It's also exceptionally light. Like, I mean, I don't even have to try. It's a really comfortable steering rack, and the steering wheel is a little bit on the smaller size in terms of just how big it is overall. Now let's get a little acceleration here with the Tahoe. Now, in terms of acceleration on this 5.3, no, it's not as strong as the 6.2. I definitely prefer the 6.2 in the Tahoe and the Suburban. However, the 5.3 gets the job done. I'd say that it gets a lot better fuel economy, but it's pretty equivalent to the 6.2. So if you're able to make the 6.2 work, I definitely recommend going for it. I guess the benefit of the 5.3 is it's been around a little bit longer than the 6.2, so it's a little bit more of a proven engine on a reliability standpoint. So that's kind of like your benefit with going for the 5.3, and also it does cost a little bit less than the 6.2. Wrapping things up on this new Tahoe, what I'm going to say might be a little bit controversial, but I will say it. I know that the new 2021 Tahoe and Suburban are coming out, and they're kind of doing the whole facelift and making it look like the new half-ton trucks, and it actually looks really good. That being said, though, if they do the same treatment on the Tahoe and Suburban as they did to the trucks, where they did change the exterior but the interior remains relatively the same, then it doesn't really make sense to wait for it. If you really want that exterior styling, I can understand. But if Chevy doesn't completely overhaul the interior, I would definitely say just go for the 2020 over the 2021, because I'm sure the 2020s are going to be, you know, significantly more money. And so you might as well save yourself a lot of money, because you'll most likely get a car that's pretty close to the same. Not exactly the same, but really close. There we have it, everyone. The all-new 2020 Chevy Tahoe in the Premier package. As always, if you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then again, a big shout and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Chevy here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Tahoe. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in that next video. Let's talk about visibility.
This vehicle is in demonstration mode, connected by OnStar's high-speed 4G connection.
Shut up, lady. Shut up, lady. Shut up. Anyways. Okay, well, now that we have gone over everything in the Tahoe, we have to discuss pricing. So, this particular Tahoe is in the Premier trim, and obviously I've shown you guys pretty much